Excellent. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I'm Rory, again, the Director of Community for Chainlink. Really excited to have kind of quite a few people on the call today. We have Andras, Kristof, and Ben Ong, specifically from the Ether.Cards team, kind of the people building this thing. We have Mark McKenna, we have Nusi Cuero here, they're contributing artists. So I think it's going to be a really great conversation because not only are you getting to hear from the people that are actually building the platform, but you're also going to hear from people that are the artists, what this means for them, why NFTs are interesting, and why they wanted to kind of participate. The goal of, again, this Q&A live stream is to allow the community to kind of learn more about the integration between Ethercards and Chainlink, exploring NFTs, exploring the Ethercards platform. For the first 20, 30 minutes, it's going to be Q&A chat structure again. I'm going to ask some questions. We're going to get some answers. And then basically after that, if for some reason you have more questions you want to ask in the description, we'll kind of put all the links you need. If you want to hop in the Ethercard community channels, ask some questions, hop in the Chainlink channel, ask some questions. That's going to be more than open to you. So basically, yeah, so let me go ahead and get started. Ben, Andras, I'll start with you. If you gentlemen wouldn't mind maybe just sort of introducing a little bit of your background, what you do for Ethercards, and kind of what you guys are looking to build, or have built, I should say.
Sure. My name is Andras Kristof, and this is Ben, my co-founder. We are from Ethercards. We started this thing with blockchain quite a few years ago in 2013. We actually are the team who developed and deployed the first blockchain Bitcoin ATM in Asia in 2013, 2014. And then we did quite a few other projects. We did a distributed asset management system on Ripple by forking Ripple, removing XRP and ending in ring signatures from Monero, because there was no Ethereum yet. But as soon as Ethereum came out late 2014, we started to work with Ethereum. And we have been working ever since with the technology, worked with quite a few big names from the industry. We worked with Consensus, with the Ethereum Foundation. And we actually started working with NFTs much earlier than it was cool. We, like 2-3 years ago, we already had NFTs, even and physical objects connected with NFTs. We still have the technology. And for example, we did the NFT ticketing for DEF CON Osaka, and we're going to do the NFT ticketing for DEF CON Bogota as well, whenever that DEF CON is going to be. And now we are working on Ethercards, basically putting in this 4 to 5 years of experience with blockchain technology and NFTs, and implementing the best of the ideas that we came up with during this period.
Awesome, Andras. Yeah, thank you so much, Ben. Kind of, how about yourself? What do you sort of do with the team, and what's a little bit about your background?
Right. So I think Andras gave a great introduction, and I think it would be impossible to top that. But I handle most of the business development and general operations and some of the artist onboarding. And we have 2 of them here, and I'm really really happy to have them join us.
Awesome. Yeah, Mark, let me go ahead and pass it to you, kind of as a contributing artist. Maybe you wouldn't mind maybe sharing kind of a little bit of your background and kind of maybe how you've sort of gotten here today.
Sure. So my history is in comic books for 35 years. I started at Marvel Comics, worked on staff in 1985 to 1987. And then DC Comics, Batman, Superman hired me to be a contracted artist for them from 87 to 91. And I bounced back to Marvel after 91, and then the boom happened in the early 90s, and things were tremendous for a while. And then things got quiet over the years. The speculator market in comic books disappeared a little bit, and they went into Beanie Babies and Pokemon cards, and basically left comics. So things had been quiet for years. And then late last year, I was reached out by another crypto art company, and I had no idea. I think the States are trying to catch up to the rest of the world with the whole NFT thing. Because I'm still new to the business of the NFTs and the crypto art business, I feel like I'm still one of the early pioneers as far as comics, coming into this business, because I've had a bunch of my friends now reach out, comic art friends, now reaching out to me, asking me, hey, how do you do this? You know, because they're hearing about the success now. And I feel fortunate that Ben and Andras reached out to me early. I was already connected with another company, and I'm thankful for it though. And it's been a fun ride so far. I'm still learning the process though, you know, because I'm still dollars and cents kind of guy.
Awesome, Mark. Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment, but it's great to see kind of you're in that first group of people in terms of artists that are kind of exploring and doing this and opening up the door, I'm sure, for more to kind of follow, you know, in the future. So thanks for that. Nusi, how about yourself? Can you maybe give us a little bit of your background and kind of how you got involved?
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear your story. About, you know, we're from very different backgrounds. I've been making sort of digital and physical art in tandem for a little while now. And when I sort of switched over to digital, I do it because I love it. And I had a job at the time, so I was unsure of how it was going to turn into something that could put food on my table, or, you know, or when and how it could get to this sort of like arduous gallery world of art. And so, you know, for a background, I make sort of like couture. It's like, and amongst other things, but I design them digitally, and then I'll like 3D print some of the designs and stuff. So this is a fascinating sort of like conduit to be able to do things through, because of the immediacy. The immediacy of, you know, transaction, of interest, of interaction with the buyer and everything. It's fascinating.
So if I could add something to that, we've always been in comic books, everything's been hard copy, original art. So, and then when the business of digital art kicked in, as far as not having to live near New York City, you know, for Marvel and DC Comics, they started to pick up on doing scanning art. And then for example, one Easter, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, I was asked to help on a Justice League comic book. And I said, well, yeah, I can help. Where are the pages coming from? And they said, from South America. And I said, so I'll see them in 3 days. They said, no, you'll see them in 10 minutes. Because they were sending the high resolution scans over to me, and I could print them out. But that didn't just change that, in a sense. It made everything worldwide. And now you can have people in different parts of the world and also working for Marvel Comics or DC Comics, which they couldn't do before because of the, you know, impossibility of getting the art from them. You know, if you lived in the Pyrenees Mountains in Spain or something, one of the guys I worked with literally had some guy probably was on a horse, you know, delivering the package to him, you know, and that whole thing changed. So I was kind of almost preparing for the digital art world at that point, and the fact that the World Wide Web has changed the way the business is. So I was a little on the cusp of learning the digital business. So it didn't hurt me that I was one step closer, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's great. And I think it's fascinating to hear how, you know, traditional artists doing different types of art and different types of things. Now, all of a sudden they have this new way of kind of interacting, as Nusi said, sort of interacting with the audience. It's relatively instantaneous. You get kind of instantaneous feedback and interest. And I think that's great. And someone can look at your art anywhere in the world. They can purchase these NFTs from, you know, anywhere in the world. They don't have to go to some gallery in New York or San Francisco or London or Paris to basically be able to kind of interact with this, which I think is a really cool thing. So to kind of transition off of that, would love to hear. So Ethercards, I'm sure some people are aware, obviously, about these NFTs, which we're going to explore here shortly. But I know it's not just about this kind of first set of NFTs. It's kind of a platform. Andras, would love to hear you maybe get into a little bit about what that is.
Sure. Ethercards is actually two things. One is, as you say, is a platform. It's a platform for artists, for NFT owners, for marketplaces to help them to monetize and gamify their NFTs. Because right now we have these NFTs, it's it's a huge hype, it's a big craze. But let's be frank, what you can do with your NFTs, you can buy them, you can hold them, and you can sell them. That's about it. But frankly, there is so much more into this technology that is not being explored in any meaningful way. And that's what we are doing. What we actually want to do with this platform is to create the same effect that DeFi created for the ERC20s, for the traditional tokens. We want to do the same thing with NFTs. We are building a platform that will help you to monetize and gamify, and then combine these different monetization and gamification features and abilities with your NFTs. It will help you in a lot of different ways. It will engage your audience. It will actually bring NFTs much closer to their full potential. And that is half of the project. That is the platform. The other half of the project is actually the cards, the Ether.Cards that are right now on sale. These are NFT cards with superpowers. These are NFT cards with special abilities that helps you to fuse the platform, the Ethercards platform, or soon a lot more different platforms to their full potentials. They act as enablers. They act as letting you access features. They act as giving you discounts. They can give you free services. These are kind of like a combination of baseball cards with VIP access cards, with passports, and with access control cards and discount coupons. So these NFTs has practical, pragmatic features and utilities that makes them that makes them very different from your traditional NFT that you can actually look at, and it's not actually good for anything else.
No, I love that interactivity. I know the first time that we talked kind of weeks and weeks ago, one of the things that made me so interested was not that it's just amazing art in terms of the NFT, which it is, but also, these features, the kind of unique things they can do. We'll get into that here kind of shortly, but it kind of gives you a reason to sort of to have this. It's not just because it's art, which is wonderful. It also does some things as well.
It is like that, and the utility will be more and more valuable as the platform will gain traction. So this is by design, that it gives a long-term value to the cards and rewards the people who hold it, because it will give more and more benefits as the time goes.
Absolutely. And then how does Chainlink kind of VRF or the randomness from Chainlink, how does that play a role in this?
It's kind of makes it actually possible, because not many people know it, but getting actual random numbers is very difficult, and getting random numbers on the blockchain is next to impossible, because everything is predetermined, everything is calculated for something else. There is no actual randomness in the blockchain. So playing any kind of games or giving anything to the chance or doing anything that is not predictable is technically impossible. And this is where Chainlink's VRF comes in, because what they can do, they're in the business of building oracles, bringing in data from the outside world. And one of the oracle that they build is this beautiful verifiable random function, which means that now we can have random numbers on the blockchain that we can mathematically prove that it wasn't manipulated with, then it's real random. So all the kind of games and activities and engagements and puzzles is actually made possible by Chainlink's VRF.
Awesome. No, that's fantastic. And I think you hit on it. I mean, when you're purchasing these NFTs, when you're involved in them, you want to know it's really random. You want to know that, it's not someone's friend that's getting the card, the NFT that's worth the most. You want to know that, no, I have an honest chance, just like everybody else does that participates. Yep. Perfect. Go ahead, Andras.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So just wanted to say there were other attempts where people were doing things based on random, and they did not use VRF. They used just some pseudo randomness, and they were figured out. And people actually exploited the process and basically ruined the game.
Yeah, and then everyone's affected by that participated, not just the one, not just the two. No, I think that's great, and love that there's kind of a tool that's out there to be able to do this, so that you can say, hey, this is actually random, and you can prove it, and people can actually look on chain and kind of see that. Ben, I'm going to kind of throw it to you. You guys have a pretty incredible, website and your art. I'd love maybe if you could kind of take us through, maybe share your screen, maybe introduce some of Mark's work, some of Nusi's work, and kind of show sort of what's being done.
Sure. Yeah, just give me a second to pull it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So actually on the first screen we have Anthony, but let me just go to Mark's pieces first.
Yep.
And so Mark, I think you might be the best person to kind of describe this. So I'm just going to hand it over to you right now.
In general, well, I work for DC and Marvel, so I have over 600 credits for both companies. I also happen to get lucky or fortunate to work on Star Wars, the Old Republic stuff back in 2012. And I was actually a licensed artist for Star Wars and invited to the Star Wars Celebration 6 back in 2012. I'm also was part of the 501st, if you guys know what the 501st is. I was inducted in Albany in the same year, 2012. Darth Vader came over, tapped me on the shoulder, and handed me a plaque. It was really cool. So I have a connection with the Star Wars universe, and of course, I was fortunate that I got to work on Batman. I think all the titles, Legend of the Dark Knight. I did Detective for a half a year, and I also worked on the Batman Annual 1 year. So even though I don't think I'm known as much for doing Batman, it's just I had a broad range of artwork. And then all the way on the right side is my own personal world. I created a jack-o'-lantern, alien jack-o'-lanterns, and I did a book called Combat Jacks. It was basically Space Marines versus alien pumpkins. And one of my colorists actually put together the little animation on the far right that we were trying, and I at some point, Andras, hopefully I'll be able to work this out. We're trying to create a puzzle, or by cutting out all the pieces. And once my colorist was able to get hold of the individual characters and the pumpkin, he actually did this quick little animation, which I thought was really came out great.
Yep,
so,
very cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously it just really pops. I love the colors. It's different in terms of, obviously Batman and, Boba Fett, everybody knows those. And I love your kind of more original stuff as well. Pretty amazing looking art. And I think, anybody would be happy to have an NFT, of one of these. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to have done it. Yeah, go for it.
Perfect, Ben. Maybe you want to take us to maybe some of Nusi's work?
Yeah, of course. Nusi's one is really interesting. Let me just see. Nusi, you want to describe about each one of these pieces?
Yeah, sure. I mean, these pieces are kind of from a series, and it's all sort of relating to the sort of couture and this sort of like kind of muse that I serve, and I always try to make things for her, I guess, is this idea of this like ultra like enigmatic, like shamanic, like omniscient, sexy but like asexual, like like she has like exotic animals that just like follow her around and where she goes, like just this sort of character. And I always try to imagine like what would she wear and what would her sort of aesthetic ambience be like. And these were basically all of my work is sort of like an iteration of that. And so these are some iterations of like of her, I guess. And I made these in this really peculiar software that I've been really obsessed with. And it's actually a software. It's a virtual reality software for creating virtual reality pornography. And because of that, I don't make pornography, obviously, but because of that, it's got this amazing like skin textures and specular reflections and physics and like, sort of how the like sex and war like sort of drive technology in a way. It's funny, but it's an amazing software, and I was able to sort of bring some of my things in. Like you can see there's some details where they'll blink and like they're breathing, and the skin textures are really intentional. So yeah, that's kind of a broad explanation of these three lovely women.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredible. What I also really love about it is the fact that how different everything is. A lot of times I've noticed, with certain, NFTs and things like that, basically thematically, they seem to be, kind of all on the same line. But what I'm seeing here is very different artists producing very different types of work that can appeal to very different audiences at the same time.
Well, you know what the NFT sort of universe, at least on the art side of NFT, what this does is, there's been this common thing in the 20th century of artists feeling like they have to repeat the goddamn same thing over and over again in order to establish themselves, to sort of like mimetically infect people's minds so they remember you enough to like give a shit and buy something. So, excuse me, and buy something of yours, like these people like Cause or like Jeff Koons, like the biggest people in the industry do the same thing over and over again. And I can't, like, they must be bored to tears, and I'd rather be not bored to tears than stinking rich. And like, what this does is it allows us to stretch our arms a little bit, because the art is connected so much more to this like image or this figure they might see at an art fair. It's much more liberating, and it gets us closer to the freedom of just like expression rather than like trying to create a product because of the way the art market works.
Yeah, it's basically the difference between fine art and commercial art. You're doing it for the public versus doing it for yourself.
Yeah, and obviously everybody has to make a living, and put food on the table. But at the same time, I imagine if you're doing what you genuinely love and are able to do that, that's like the holy grail of art. Yep.
Yeah.
And one of the things, if I may, one of the things that can Ben, if you want to stop the sharing, maybe. One of the things that the NFTs, and especially the technology that we are building with Chainlink, makes it possible to add a connection between the artist and the people who are enjoying and owning this art. Because of this interactive NFT standard that we started to work with Chainlink. I hope I am not spilling much beans here.
That's okay. Go
ahead. It is going to be possible using the Ethercards technology for the artist to directly connect to the art, to the owner of the art or the enjoyer of the art. For example, imagine that you can actually speak to the piece of art and the artist can listen and hear it and can respond. So as long as you own the piece of art, you may have a connection with the artist. And that is something you cannot do it with physical art. You cannot do it with digital art, but NFTs can make it possible. And NFTs can make it this kind of ephemeral features, ephemeral connections possible between the artist and the audience, because the ownership of the NFTs can be verified without doubt. So as long as you hold the art, you have this privilege. But if you sell the art, you don't have this privilege anymore because you saw the art. And this kind of connections can actually be made possible with these interactive NFTs that we are doing at Ethercards.
No, I think that's really incredible stuff, talking about kind of dynamic NFTs and basically the ability for, it's like this object kind of out there, but it can interact with the outside world. That's possible by using oracles and using some other things. And I think there's a lot of really cool things that can be done. NFTs that change based on external factors, the ability to connect with the artists themselves. I almost think the sky's the limit we're kind of seeing the first kind of step in sort of the NFT space, but I think the next couple steps are going to be much more interactive and provide value beyond just the value of the NFT, but the value to the individual for having the NFT.
Absolutely. We want to change the market in a way that it cannot be stay the same anymore after this.
Perfect. Yeah. Ben, if you wouldn't mind maybe taking us through a couple kind of artists sort of as we kind of further the conversation, maybe as you sort of share your screen showing maybe some more of the website is kind of the backdrop. I'd love to get into what is the value for, go ahead, Andras.
No, please continue.
Yeah, I was gonna. What is the value? We've touched on this a little bit. I think Mark and Nusi have a little bit, but what is the value for the artist, Andras? Maybe starting with you first. How do you see what is the true value to the artist of they want to create this NFT? What does that mean for them? How is that different than if they were to create, another piece of art in a traditional sense?
The NFTs actually bring together the best qualities of the digital art and the physical art. The digital art, it gives you all the tools, all the animation technology, all the interactivity that digital art makes it possible. But as artists can probably tell that digital art is very difficult. Digital art is incredibly easy to copy. You cannot do anything about it. Digital art is many times it is worthless because there is no ownership possible. Here comes NFTs. NFTs combine the best abilities and the best characteristics of physical objects with the interactivity and versatility of the digital art. Now you get NFTs. And now you get pieces of art where the ownership, the provenance, everything is absolutely deterministic. And you can tell that how many pieces of this art exist and who owns them. So it is fundamentally different from a JPEG that you upload to one of the sites, because this one can have the abilities of real physical objects. And they cannot be copied, cannot be created, cannot be duplicated in the same way as digital art can be. So basically, NFT technology brings in and makes digital art much more valuable.
No, I love that, Mark. Let me just throw it to you. For you as an artist perspective, why does this interest you? Like, what's the value for you as an artist?
I mean, certainly it's about worldwide connection for me. I do know that I've traveled abroad I live in New Jersey, in the States. I've been to Amsterdam, I've been to France, I've been to South America, Costa Rica, and it's amazing that you do find people there that have followed you. I've had guys when I was in Amsterdam a few years ago, I had guys traveling from Belgium just to come and have me autograph their comics. So, but I don't believe that I'm known as in depth as I am with the NFTs, with this whole market, because I also my followers on this other website, I'm almost at 6,000 followers, and I can tell it's just worldwide, and it's exposes my art to a much broader base. That's the main thing, I think.
No, I mean, I love that. Maybe now it's, that you can see there's sort of a correlation of this gets put out there and there's more people interested in you, and obviously being involved with your other work, NFTs and beyond that as well. So, I mean, I think that's amazing. Nusi, how about yourself? What's the value for you, or kind of why did you want to participate?
Well, I mean, that's certainly an amazing component of it. I mean, in Ethercards in general, like my sort of artwork, I'd like for it to, bother as many people as possible. But the whole sort of crypto art community, and the sort of anonymity of a lot of it is very interesting to me, because I don't think that they would have stumbled into my work, at least for a while anyway. and I'm curious, and it's been very interesting to see people's responses and reactions to it. Because most of I think the people, I've been operating mostly on Instagram, just posting my work there, you know, for free. And like it's a completely different crowd, and I think just that's fascinating. But I think the main thing is I love the idea that it's an investment in art, right? It's like it's a JPEG at the end of the day, or it's an MP4 loop or something. But like, you know, to invest in an artist, and even, you know, it's an honor to be a part of this group, you know, because I think that that's another sort of like factor to this sort of gamification too, right? Is like, if some of these artists like blow up or like have a successful thing or like die or something, like, right there, there's another sort of like value factor, right? And I like, I like being a horse that's bet on, you know, it's cool. But I think that for me, it's the idea that people can invest directly into an artist's career. Like the way that I make my things, it's like through a chain, like a sort of design process called procedural design, where I set up a set of parameters, and then that's my brush stroke, and then I sort of like can iterate a bunch of things, and like, so I'm at this point right now where I can literally like wake up, log onto my computer, create a 3D model, render it in 10 minutes, and then put that on as an NFT and then send it to my 3D printer. And you know, before I even eat breakfast, I can have designed and then sold something to somebody potentially without any sort of middleman. This is the broad NFT thing, not just Ethercards, but I think that's amazing, and that's beautiful and unbelievable. So.
Oh, I think that's definitely extremely compelling here. As we kind of sort of wrap some of these thoughts up, I love Andras or Ben, you know, whoever you think is most relevant here. Let's talk a little bit about it. So Ethercards, I know you guys opened up your sale. Kind of what's the status of that? If people want to participate, you know, how can they become part of this movement?
Ben.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, well, if you want to be part of it, the easiest thing is just going to sale.ether.cards and purchasing one of our founder cards, or, you know, the alphas. Unfortunately, the OGs are out, and you can see some of Misi's pieces on there. I think like Andras put up the screen, you can see some of the really cool art pieces he has on it. Some dirty robots I can see now, and some combinatory art pieces. So if you purchase some of the alphas and the comments, you will also be receiving accidental collaborations between different artists, and each of them would come with traits that you would benefit from when you interact with the Ethercard site, as you know, as Ethercards grow.
This is some of the interface on the cards, and it shows some of the traits that you will get on your cards, some of the functionalities, some of the properties that the cards have in extra to the art. And basically what we got after the sale is over is a long road of integrations and working with our already existing partners like Chainlink and others, and rolling out the platform to make it as successful as possible.
No, that's incredible stuff, Yad. If you want to continue to show those as we talk, that'll be great. I guess playing off that, I had a great question kind of from our YouTube chat. Mark and Ben, maybe this is you based on your role. How do you find these amazing artists? You know, how do you come across, you know, these people? Is it magic? Is there some sort of process behind it? You know, how do you get Nusi? How do you get Mark? Obviously producing amazing art in obviously very different spheres. How do you come across them?
I think like that's one. Yeah, sorry.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's some ways it's we are blessed with Mark and Nusi, and because They just come, and they were graceful enough to offer to share their art, and we feel really blessed by the quality and the talent that we are receiving. So we are incredibly grateful for them.
Very cool. Ben, anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously we did some reach out, and the people we reached out to were people who we enjoyed their art from the very beginning. So I think if it was something that the team kind of enjoyed, it would be something that everyone else enjoyed too. I know it's slightly subjective, but I think the mix that we bring to the pool is pretty awesome. I mean, we got some artists who have also been commissioned by Netflix, Nike, and MTV. And I just want to give a shout out to Anthony, who's actually a co-founder at Ethereum. He's better known as Texture, but yeah, he has this really cute bears you can find on the site. So yeah, I think we just kind of enjoy what they brought to the table.
No, very cool. And it sounds like, Andres, based on what you say, kind of the next steps is you're really working on integrations and kind of expanding the platform. Is that kind of what your next focus is?
There is a lot of interest. We have been on talks every day. There is significant interest from the gaming industry, from the serious big gaming industry, reaching out to us and talking with us about the possibilities of integrating games with NFTs and utilizing it to the fullest. And also, which is also very much into the court of Ethercards, is communities providing cards to communities, even as a white label approach that these communities can use and modify and customize for themselves, and use the Ethercards platform to the benefit of the current Ethercards holders, but also to the benefit of their own communities. So there is a lot of ways that we will be able to expand on this.
Great. Yep. Very cool. Ben, I'm going to toss it to you here as we kind of wrap up. Where's a great place for people to kind of follow what you're doing if they want to, interact with you, the team, see kind of what some of these cool NFTs are? What's the best way for them to do that?
I think probably the easiest way is to check our Twitter. We have a Discord channel, and we have an Instagram. So you can just, if you want to get the latest updates, just hit on there.
Awesome.
Yeah, Twitter and Discord. Yep.
Perfect. We'll put all those links in the description as well. So again, if you're watching this, you'll be able to see it. Click on there. It's been incredible. I want to say working with the Ethercards team. I also want to say pretty amazing to meet Mark and Nusi here today. Some of the artists kind of behind it. You can see, these are real people doing real things, creating real original art, which I think in this space is important to kind of be able to see some of the people behind this. You can expect, I think, to hear a lot more news coming out of Ethercards, as sort of time goes on. So I definitely recommend following them. Everybody here on the call, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time. It was a sincere pleasure. This will be put on, kind of our YouTube channel. We'll just make a couple slight edits. We'll put it on YouTube. I'll share it back kind of with everybody. We'll be sharing it around as well. So if you had to jump off, didn't see the whole thing, maybe missed it, tell your friends you're going to have the ability to share this with them very shortly. Thank you, everybody, again, for taking time. I know it's valuable, and we look forward to doing this again, hopefully in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, gentlemen. You have